All right. Welcome to Simple Healthy Life, where our goal is to have real, insightful conversations on topics that we find interesting and hopefully you. So if you have some comments, topics that you'd like to hear about or have us talk about, please reach out to us. Also, drop us a follow on Spotify. It kind of helps with the algorithm and all that stuff. But today we have an interesting back to basics kind of conversation. But I think the basics are fundamental here, and this is on meditation and the importance of meditation. And I'll start with a little anecdote for myself. Is that I had fallen off meditation for a little bit, actually, MJ, and I just, for whatever reason, it was just getting really hard. I was just like, busy mornings, rushed mornings. I just, I think working a lot and clients starting earlier than I would have liked, and I just didn't prioritize that space that I normally was. And I'd been on my meditation streaks for so long, and it's so helpful. So I fell off for a little bit, and I felt that. I felt you feel as if you're part of your thoughts, and you feel as if you're wrapped up into every event happening. And as soon as I got back on and started practicing again, it was like such a relief. It was such a relief. I could actually be more of the awareness rather than like part of the play. I was sitting in the audience again and being able to watch and act correctly and respond correctly. And it was super helpful to get back into it. But why meditate? Why do for someone who listens to that and they're like, I don't even know what the heck that means, Ryan. Like, what does that all mean? What is meditation, and why should the average person even consider doing it? I mean, what is it? Just sitting and breathing? What is that?
Well, so I'll start by something that I think people don't understand, and I want to say it this way. Your mind is not in charge. And for many of us, that sounds like a crazy statement to make because, quite honestly, that's how we live our life. We allow our mind to be in charge without even knowing it. And if you could take a step back and say to yourself, what if my mind is just a tool for me to use? Now, this does get into this, kind of spiritual realm, and I don't want to go down that path today. I think we could do a whole podcast on kind of the spiritual aspects of meditation, but I don't think that that's valuable in this scenario. Mm-hmm. So let's just pretend for a moment that your mind is just a tool for you to use. And when you start to sit with that understanding and close your eyes and watch your breath, and we can explain how that works, what you find is that there is actually separation from what's going on in your head and who you are, right? So in the same way that you can't see the back of your eyes, you can't see the back of your teeth, but you know they're there. If you are able to spend a moment or two, you'll start to see your thoughts. And that allows you to step back from them and proverbially step back from them and witness them. And that's step one. That's understanding that there is something else happening now. When that starts to happen and you start to deepen your practice, you start to become more and more aware of the fact that you're not your body either. And these pain signals, both good and bad, are simply that. And they're coming to your brain, this tool that you have at your disposal. So you actually are neither of those things. And there's this third thing. And that's the third thing that science hasn't discovered or hasn't really put in. We don't really have the best language for it yet. But there is this third thing going on there. And I think inherently anybody listening to this does recognize that there's something there. And it doesn't have to be religious or spiritual. But you start to realize that there is something there. And if that's you, the proverbial you, or if that's something else you want to call it, you can call it whatever you want. But as you start to progress through this process, your entire outlook starts to change just a little bit. And you said it best, when you stop doing it, you go right back to, kind of the way that we all are. And we do have options, and those options are meditation, breath work. And these are tools for you to explore the tools that you've been given, the body and mind, in order to live a life that is more focused, more refined, more in alignment with the way you want to be. And when you are doing those things and you do start to feel like you're living a life that's more in alignment with the way you want to be, you recognize that it's not external factors. There are tons of them that are coming at you every day, and they are affecting your mind and your body, but they don't have to affect you. It's kind of a longer answer on why you should meditate.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, I love when you say like in alignment, because I think it's so real for a lot of people that they are living a life that's so unaligned that it's chaotic and things feel chaotic. And I think that happens when we haven't used those tools to bring ourselves back to alignment. What is it that we are reacting to that we don't need to react to? What is it that we're doing that we're not thrilled about doing, or that it feels automatic, or whatever it might be? I think that we live in a time that's kind of challenging to navigate, because there is so much stimulation, there's so much easy access to dopamine, that if you're not doing these things, I mean, you're letting your mind run the show. And I think you said that perfectly. Your mind is running the show. Your brain, the neurochemical systems of your brain are doing what they do best. They're operating perfectly, but they're not made to operate in this time, and that's just the fact. And so I think as you start to practice the breath work and the meditation and the journaling and all the things that we talk about, I think it's a tool that really does help you bring yourself back into alignment, and it's really important for people. And you're not going to know the benefits until you do it. We can't convince you of the benefits. You have to do it and see it and feel it.
Well, one of the things you just said there, and I think it'll help people understand where we're coming from, is automatic. Okay, and what the brain has done and what it's evolved into is these automatic responses. And I mean, how many days, even as an avid meditator or recently when you fell off, how many days did you finish the end of the day and you're like, if you had really been honest with yourself, like, holy crap, I was on autopilot all day.
Every day was that way.
Every day, auto. And that's super, I'm not going to say it's because you're super smart, right? But it's because you've trained your brain. Your brain has trained itself in order to be automatic. You could drive to this podcast studio with one eye closed on the phone, scrolling through TikTok, looking up just long enough to make sure you don't hit anything, and you'd get here automatically. Yeah. And you can have conversations with people that you know very well, not really listening, but knowing that, okay, I already know what he's going to say, so I'm going to say this next, okay, automatically. You can have those all day. You can have them with your boss. You can have them with your colleague. You can have them with friends, family. How many times do people auto-response? How you doing? I'm doing great. Auto-response. Auto. And what happens is at the end, you've lived an automatic life. And worse, those auto responses aren't always perfect. Those aren't even in alignment with what you want. You've just developed into it. And now you've developed into a life that maybe you're not really happy with, or an automatic day that you're just not really happy with. And you don't really know what to do about it because it feels so normal. And that's the thing. The part that people have to recognize is that while you do get the opportunity to really learn and train your brain when you're young, you are still learning and training your brain all the time. It's an incredible tool. It is a tool that is always there to become better, to become quicker, a lot of quick caveat is like addiction, right? Addiction is an amazing something in the brain is happening in an amazing way. It is firing together, and it's immediately. I mean, how many people do you know that smoke cigarettes that as soon as they eat food, they go smoke a cigarette automatically without knowing, right? So when you can start to meditate, when you can start to practice this, and I'm going to explain to you what to do next. When you can start to practice this exercise, right? Remember, I'll use the word specifically. Start to practice this exercise as a skill that you are building. Okay?
Yep.
What it's going to do for you is it's going to allow you to recognize first that your mind is a tool, that your body is a tool, that you have the ability to live in a life that's in alignment with the things that you value, and you have the ability to change the things that you want to change. And it's not something that happens overnight. But I've been fortunate enough to teach a lot of people how to do this. And one of the things that I get the same response almost every single time when I start. Mike, I like what you're saying. I'd love to be able to do that. It seems awesome. But I can't because my brain. That's what they say.
Every time.
And it's like clockwork. And whatever they say after that is very specific to them. I can't because my brain is too busy. I can't because my brain has this going on. I can't because I have ADHD. I can't because my brain, right? It's almost like they think like they're special.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's almost like we think like, well, no, I'm not like you. Okay, cool. Fair. Understandable. But the fact is, we know now that your brain and my brain are the same, right? They do the same thing. The only thing is I treat mine as a tool for me to use, and you treat yours as running your life. So.
Yeah. Humans have a unique way of creating a hierarchy in which they place themselves separate from that. I'm different. It's bad that I'm this different, but I'm different. I'm special, right? And I think I think that's really destructive for people because, it then breeds kind of disconnection from recognizing that like, hey, I struggle with the busy mind too. My brain's very solution oriented. My brain just wants to be like logic. My brain is that way too. But hey, meditation is kind of a good skill to work on. I love that you emphasize skill because I think that meditation and breathing and all those things are tools to sharpen the skills. And meditation is a great one because, quite honestly, I don't know if I ever shared this with, but I believe that there are two skills that if someone refines, they will have success in every area of their life. And do you want to know what those two skills are?
I want to guess the second one.
Yeah, go for it. Guess it. These are skills that that if you develop this, you're successful in nearly every area. I can't see any other areas I can see any areas where this is not.
All right, you give them to me. Go ahead.
I'll guess, please.
Confidence.
That's a good one. It's not it, but it's a good one.
Self-awareness.
Two good ones, yeah, but yeah. Those would be in the top 10, I think. But these two are focus and discomfort tolerance.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Interesting that both of those are meditation plays a large role in both of those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine what you can do if you can focus uncomfortable. What more do you need? Everything is built upon that foundation of being able to focus and being able to sit there being uncomfortable.
Okay, so since you said that, I think I'd like to take the next few moments to explain meditation as a way to build the skill of focus.
Yeah, please.
Okay. So remember, this is kind of our 101 meditation. So we've talked about this before, but I want to just we'll start this way. So in your brain, there's two parts, right? There's many parts of your brain. You don't have to be a brain expert or neuroscientist to be able to do this, but I'm going to give you both parts. There's two systems. One is called the default mode network, and that is this part that we train all the time. That is your automatic responses. That's your driving to work, don't remember how you got there, right? And it's usually referred to when we're thinking about the future, the past, or self-referential thought, right? Thinking about ourselves. Oh, I'm so stupid. Oh, I'm so smart. Oh, I like the way that felt. Oh, I didn't like that. Oh, all the things. Well, it's aptly named because it's almost always happening in our brain. The other side is your task positive network. This is essentially focus. Okay, so when you're in your default mode network, you're not focused, right? You are focused, but you're focused, your awareness is on one thing. It's on the future or the past. It's not on the present moment. And I know that present moment kind of becomes a buzzword, but essentially the present moment is where you live a happy, fulfilled life. I used the word fulfilled today, right? It's the stuff you go home and tell your significant other about, right? I was focused on this thing, or Ryan said this thing, I was listening, and really happened, the stuff that happened. You never go home and be like, oh, I was spacing out today and I was thinking about yesterday, right? You just don't talk about that stuff. It doesn't happen. So both of those things are happening in your brain. One is firing higher than the other, and the other one, and we've studied this through fMRI imaging. We can actually see kind of what's going on when you're doing these things. So one is going higher, the other one is going lower, right? And when the more time you can spend with this task positive network firing, the more focused you are, the better you are at learning, the better you are at doing your job, the better you are at building skills, the better you are at being in a relationship. Like, this is where we want to live, but this is where we live. For the most part, right? And it's because we've treated our brain growing up and being taught that our brain is in charge. So we've never actually done the skill building aspect of pushing this part to the surface.
The task positive part.
Task positive, right. Does
We
that make
live
sense?
in default mode. Yeah.
We just live in the default mode.
Yeah.
And we can get into it. I don't want to take myself off course, but we can get into what social media and the phone does. And just remember that there's super duper smart people putting that stuff together, and it does push us into default mode.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but here we are. We're trying to do this balancing act to live a happy life, to live a fulfilled life, to live a life that's in alignment with our values, in alignment with who we are, and not automatic. What we need is our task positive network to be firing more often. Let's just go with that, right? Or maybe you're somebody that really has to buckle down and study hard and get the test or work hard or get a project done, right? You're really trying hard. You're pushing that task positive network. You're trying as hard as you can. Or maybe you're just someone right now that's trying to listen to me and be like, all right, what's he saying? I want to learn this. Even during that, your task positive is going to jump down, and your default's going to jump back up, and you're going to start, oh, what about lunch? Okay, no, wait, back to it. Hold on, I want to think about this. I got to finish this project, right? We've all had that feeling. Yes?
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. So there's a way to practice. There's a way to build the skill. And in many regards, what you want to do is you want to build the skill when it's easy, right? So what do? We put ourselves with less distraction, put ourselves in a quiet place, turn on some nice music. We do whatever you think meditation is, we do that. But essentially what we're doing is we're taking ourselves and we're focused on this task positive network. So how do we do that? Well, we do it as hard as we possibly can. We do the most challenging thing that we can do, and that is follow the breath that comes through the body. Okay, I made a leap there. I went from the brain to the body. But why is it the most challenging thing that we can do? The answer to that question is because your breathing is automatic. If you don't pay attention to it, it does it by itself, right? We all know this. No rocket science here, right? So it's happening all the time by itself. It's happening by default. It's an automatic system in the body, and it's one of the only automatic systems in the body that we have the ability to take control of, right? Like, you can't just make your heart beat faster thinking about it. You can't make your skin grow quicker by thinking about it. Your hair doesn't grow better because you thought about it. But you can take over your respiratory system. You can physically change it. You can make it breathe faster. You can make it breathe slower, right? So what we do is we start by taking over our respiratory system mentally, staying focused on it. Keyword, focused. Watching the air come in, watching the air go out, watching the lungs expand, watching the lungs come back. As soon as you start to do that, 3, 4, 5 seconds, your brain takes off every time. And this is where people get confused. They go, when that happens, they go, I can't do it. I knew I couldn't do it. It's because my brain is, and then they insert whatever they think their brain is. It's because I have too much stuff going on. It's because I have kids. It's because the kids will never leave me alone. It's because I'm hungry. It's because I'm thirsty. It's because whatever your brain is telling you right now.
Just the way I am.
Just the way I am. And they have nothing to compare it to. So they don't know that the person that's trying to meditate next to them is sitting there going, dang, yeah, my brain does that too, right? The fact is, we all do. 100% of us, every single time. Maybe it takes you 4 seconds. Maybe it takes you 10 breaths, but it's going to happen.
Right.
So as it happens, the secret is notice. Mm-hmm. By noticing, you're bringing yourself back to task positive. You're firing your task positive network back up again. And then there's a lot of people that talk about noticing without judgment. We can get into that later. That's kind of like a next step. Like, go ahead, judge. Mm-hmm. Laugh. Find it funny. I do. I think it's silly. Like, oh my God, I was just thinking about, I was joking the other day, I was trying to meditate and Tim the Toolman Taylor came into my head. I was like, what? That is some silly stuff, right? Like, where? I haven't thought about that dude since I was, since he was on TV in the late 90s, right? But there it is. So yeah, I judged. I was like, that was kind of funny. So as we start to do this, right, and we say, okay, well, YouTube says I need to be this or that, or I need to watch this, or it should be 45 minutes. Like, what you start to recognize is that every single time you notice and bring yourself back to your breath, that's one rep. Just one repetition of building the skill. And whatever skill you have, whatever hobby you have, whatever pastime you have, you've done 1,000,000 of them. You've done 1,000,000 reps. Right, definitely in the fitness industry, but painted 1,000,000 things, wrote 1,000,000 songs, did all these things before you started to get good at it. You got to know that it's okay that your brain did it, and then you pulled it back, and then it did it again, and then you pulled it back, and then you did it again, and then you pulled it back, and eventually, what starts to happen is you start to just be able to watch your breath, and then you start to watch your thoughts. And then you start to be able to step back and go, why is it possible that I can watch my thoughts? Why is it possible that I can watch my breath? If I can do it here, why can't I do it when I get anxious or frustrated or angry or tired or mad? Well, you can, but you have to build the skill first. So it all goes back to that very beginning skill of watching the breath go in, watching the breath come out, and staying task positive. And that's essentially meditation 101.
Yeah, well said. I mean, the word that you said a couple times that really sticks out to me is noticing. The power is in the noticing, right? And I even share this with people in regards to change, is that you can't escape a prison unless you know you're in one. And so you have to notice what you're doing. Ooh, I was thinking about Tim the Toolman Taylor when I was trying to focus on my breathing. Ooh, I was stuck in tomorrow's daily to-do list when I'm trying to have dinner with my partner. It's those things that pull us away from what is actually happening. That's the problem. And you work on that by simply noticing, right? Even in regards to like the work that I do, ooh, I notice that I'm eating beyond fullness right now. You know how many people don't notice that as it's happening? You don't. Yeah, guilty. I don't all the time, right? And that's the thing. You can get really great at that, right? You can get really, really great at noticing, ooh, this forkful of food is coming up to my mouth, yet I'm quite full. And so why am I doing this? Right? It's usually in hindsight. We notice everything in hindsight, likely because we're in default mode network, and we think back like to yesterday, like, wow, I really overate yesterday. That was not great. we missed it in the moment, and the noticing in the moment is so important, and it is a skill, right? You get better at it.
Definitely. And it's not something that, I think that there's a couple of things, right? Number one, this has been around for thousands of years, right? This isn't new. Number two, we've kind of been pushed away from it, right? A lot of the words I use might even be triggering to people because of the way that they were taught. And number three, I think that we're coming back around to a time where people need it more than ever. Right? There's so much happening. You're so connected at all times. I mean, I grew up in a world where when you were out playing with your friends, that's all you were doing. No one could even get a hold of you. Your mom had to drive around the block and see where you were. Right now, you're playing with your friends and just the phone rings, right? Or you get 11 different messages on your phone.
Right. What would you give for that
to get to be able to do that again?
People pay big bucks for that now.
Right? Think about it. If you just, go away without your phone, wow.
What a treat.
What a weird thing that would be. What about all those messages and things, right? We need it more than we've ever needed it before. And we've made it so sloppy and messy. And it really doesn't have to be that. It's like, it doesn't have to be this big 45-minute exercise. It can really be just noticing, bringing the skill of noticing. And I joke about it because when I say we're doing the hardest thing we could possibly do, really it is. It's super hard to stay focused on your breath. And I think, this is my own opinion, I think it's because the mind and the body are separate tools, and they both don't want you involved with the process that they have made automatic for you. Right? They've made this process automatic to keep you alive. So as soon as you start messing with it on purpose, both of them will revolt. The mind will be like, no, think about lunch, or think about the worst thing that ever happened to you, or think about, that's the stuff that starts to come up. And then the body will start to fidget and twitch and want to move. And a lot of the, Buddhism is, at its core, it's a religion, but also it's a way of looking at these types of things. And this brings it back to the second skill that you talked about, sitting in discomfort. I meditate laying down until I fall asleep. And then sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm kind of tired. I want to try to get my meditation. So I got to meditate sitting up. And I will try to sit up cross-legged. And within 3 minutes, my body's like, boy, you don't sit this position, and we don't like it.
Right.
And it tells me. So what I've tried to do is sit anyways. And just for a little longer, a couple minutes. It's uncomfortable. It's discomfort. And as I'm watching my breath and I get past kind of the mind stuff, now here comes the body sending signals. You don't like this. My hip doesn't like it. Your foot certainly doesn't like it. The weight should be shifted. We should move. At least just give me a little bit of something up, back, forth. And then you start to go, oh my God, those are the two tools that I've built that are for me to use, and they're both communicating with me. What am I?
Right.
And that's when you start to go, huh. And I don't have that answer, right? And I'm not going to pretend to give you the answer on Meditation 101. But when you start to look at it that way, you can really start to step back and say, okay. And then we start to talk about awareness and our ability to be self-aware and our ability to take the tools that we have and use them to live a life of alignment. But ultimately, all I'm telling you now is just give it a shot. Just get some reps in. Just laugh at yourself when your brain doesn't do what you want it to do, and go, huh, weird. But know that it's normal.
Right.
It's not that you're not normal. Or another step, just quick aside, proven through thousands of opportunities to prove it. Meditating by yourself is hard. Meditating with a guide, maybe it's a YouTube guide that you find, a little bit easier.
Yep.
Meditating guided in person tends to be the easiest way. So if you want to put yourself out there, go try one. Go sit and see what you can do.
Right.
And or even better yet, just put a 5-minute timer on your phone and sit there and laugh to yourself every time your brain takes off and starts thinking about lunch. And at the end, if you want to do this exercise, which I think is very valuable for everybody, at the end, write down 3 or 4 different things that your brain thought about when it was supposed to be meditating. You can laugh at them, right? Because your brain is exactly like mine. It does exactly the same stuff. And we are all wired the same way. We all have our default, and we all have our task positive.
Yeah, no, that's great, and yeah, I think it is the case for a lot of people that it is uncomfortable to sit there, even without the task of meditating, to sit there and have nothing going on is uncomfortable for probably more than half of the population, if not nearly all of them. I hear it all the time too. Like people really are uncomfortable just with the lack of stimulation. I mean, this is a neurochemical thing. This is like a dopamine seeking kind of behavior that gets built up within our minds. But even uncomfortable sitting there being with their thoughts, right? There are a lot of people who are tormented by their thoughts, and I think it's more people than what you would think, right? I think it's a good set of the population.
Oh, once you start to realize that your narrative that you've been telling yourself we talk about AI, right? Okay, so the cool thing about the scary part about AI is that they're talking about how AI trains itself, right? Well, guess what, guys? Guess who trains itself? Your brain is the ultimate AI, and it is training itself all the time. So if you're constantly in this loop of I'm not good enough, I can't do it because of my brain, I wish I was taller. I don't know why that would come out. I'm fine with my height. I wish I was in better shape.
Freudian slip. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, where did that come from? I wish I was in better shape. I wish I did this. Tomorrow I'm going to do this. And I wish all the stuff that is clearly not just me. Your brain's being trained on that. It's literally taking that and saying, okay, well, all right, just keep training, keep going, keep training, keep training. And then the part that I need people to understand the most, and it actually just came up this morning, that becomes normal, okay? Now you're saying to yourself, well, that's who I am. Because it's become normal, because it's trained, because you have trained yourself through however long to say that this is normal. And then as soon as I or somebody, or heaven forbid, a therapist or somebody comes to you and says, well, wait a minute, what if you just thought this way? You would go, it doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel normal. That feels stupid. That feels like I'm just trying to trick myself. I'm just trying to tell myself that I'm tall enough. I'm just trying to tell myself that I can do this. Right? I'm just trying to tell myself that I'm beautiful. I'm just trying to tell myself that I'm not, whatever, right? So that's stupid. Why would I do that? That's just me trying to trick myself. Or that's you retraining your brain. Because remember, the basis of this entire thing is your brain is just a tool for you to use. And just like if your AI kept spitting out, you're not good enough, you would keep going, I'm good enough, tell me I'm good enough, I'm good enough, tell me I'm good enough. No, and then eventually it would go, okay, you're the best. Who's the mirror on the wall, right? And then before you know it, that's the way you start to live.
Right.
And you start to live in alignment with the way that you really want to be. Right. And your tool that you have available to you starts to work for you and not against you.
Yeah. Yeah. You affirming differently is you choosing differently, right? We've chosen as sick and morbid as it is, we choose the narrative. We choose to run with it. You know, it might have been a choice 10, 15 years, 30 years ago. It might have been a choice when you were 7 years old to say, well, I'm not good enough. And then you made that choice, and then that's who I am, right? And that's who I am. That's why I cringe every time I hear the thought, because it's an insidious, it's a grotesque thought, because it shuts down any opportunity to change, and it's so pervasive. I have plenty of thoughts that are like that, and I try to work on it. I know everyone has those thoughts. That's just who I am. You know, I just low confidence, no self-esteem. My brain doesn't work. Like, that's just who I am. You know, you're choosing that, and you're allowing it to fester and grow. And I usually say that the mind is kind of like hardware, right? And you can implement new programs, and affirmations are essentially new programs. I love the example of the AI, like, I am good enough. I am good enough. I am good enough. It is you feeling like you're changing, because you are, right? It does feel wrong. It's the whole point. It's because your brain tells you right now, like, I'm not good enough. I'm worthless. I'm this. I'm that. And you say, actually, I am. I'm a human. You know, I'm working hard. I'm trying this. I'm trying that. You know, yeah, it feels wrong. That's the whole point. I don't believe it. Who's I?
Right.
Which I? You know, like, which I doesn't believe that? And so you're tasked with affirming yourself with a new I, a new identity, and that's what change is. The change is in the noticing and the effort to change the I.
And it's not like there's no drug, there's no pill. It's not an immediate feeling, but decide to practice, and then look back in a few months and just notice. And there's very little doubt in my mind that you will be able to notice what I'm saying is true. And one of the cool things that I like to do when I do this meditation talk that I do is I switch it to breath work. Okay, so the first thing we talked about was like noticing, because that's how we're going to affect the tool that is our brain. But we can actually do an exercise with the body that will have an effect that almost will leave you without any doubt, which I think is really cool. And it's a little harder to do on a podcast to help people understand, but essentially intentionally changing the way the body's breathing for a period of time, right? And there's so many different styles and people and things, and, you know, and not charlatans, right? There's all these different things. And I get very frustrated with the people that are very like rigid around breath work. Like, it's a big, scary word, and like, you got to do it this way, and that would be so stupid to do it that way. And make sure you take the test, and make sure that you don't tell people that they go into hypoxia. And like, I'm just like, nah, right? Like, yeah, you got to be safe. Yes, don't put a bag over your head. You know what I mean? Like, don't be stupid. But essentially, take control of your respiratory system. Take big, long breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Do that for a period of time. And then allow yourself to just relax and just see what happens. That's like the shortest way I've ever put that. Mm-hmm. But just try it and just see what happens. And see where your brain goes, and see where your mind goes, and see what your body does, and see what happens. See if the floor rises up to meet you and you feel supported and safe. See. Then you start to realize, whoa, the body is a tool for me to use too. Mm-hmm. And the body is talking to my mind, and the mind is talking to me, and there's three things here, right? And was it Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of 369, mm-hmm. right? Start right there. Right. So we can get into breathwork. We can do a whole nother podcast on breathwork next time. I think we will. But do you have any other questions on Meditation 101? Do you think we've given anybody the tool they can start with?
Yeah, no. I mean, what would be the challenge for you? I think if there's someone listening who isn't doing breathwork or meditation or affirmations, I mean, there must be some place to start. I mean, where should someone start with if they're like, all right, I just want to do the action? What's the action? What's the challenge?
The action or challenge is to set your clock for 3 minutes, close your eyes, take a big deep breath in through your nose, let it all go, center yourself, tell yourself you're going to be doing this for 3 minutes, and then see if you can just pay attention to the way the air feels coming through the nose for 3 minutes. Don't open your eyes until the alarm goes off. Don't get up and walk away. Don't tell yourself you're not good enough. Just be there doing the exercise. And at the end of the exercise, you realized after 10 seconds or so, you just thought about lunch for the whole time. Good. It's a reminder. And then try it again. And then see if you can set a goal. 20 minutes a week. Plenty. Yeah. 21 minutes a week. That's 3 minutes every day. In the morning, at night, whenever your alarm goes off. Whatever that is. Give yourself the 3 minutes. Take it as personal growth. Take it as personal development. Take it as a new skill builder. Take it as just time for yourself. But take the time to try the exercise. Right. And see what happens. And if you get past that, bring up the YouTubes. See if you can find a cool one that speaks to you. Or message us and we can, guide you or put you in touch with, probably we could do it, help them. But that's it. That's the action. And start now. And be done with the podcast. I'm going to say goodbye here in a second. Set your timer for 3 minutes. See what happens.
Yeah, and don't judge the outcomes right away. This is a skill, so it needs to take time. So if you can commit to, a couple of weeks, if you miss days here and there, that's fine. Just see how it goes. Feel it out. But don't judge that. Like, I did 3 minutes. I didn't feel better. I hear that one a lot too. I did 3 minutes. I don't feel okay. Try it again tomorrow. See, then the next day. Then the next day. Okay.
Well said.
Great. Cool. Well, this is thank you for that, MJ. A lot of good tips and stuff on that. If you guys want to hear more about this kind of stuff or other kind of topics, please reach out. Let us know. Drop us a like and follow and all that kind of stuff on our podcast platforms, and we will catch you next time.